Hey, man. How are you?
Too bad. Yourself?
Good, good.
Want a coffee?
I always want a coffee.
Nice.
Thank you. You just got back from a trip.
Yeah, it's good.
How was that?
Very
All right?
nice. Out on the open seas and saw a couple interesting countries.
Awesome.
Yeah. How was your trip?
It was amazing. We were very grateful. It was a good time away. It was interesting because we were in a private, secluded place and just got texted a code and go in, and it's interesting to figure out that you engage with people on that level, right? Level of trust that's there. And I know they've got your contact information and things like that, but
Oh, for sure they do.
but it's also, how you live, right? So, been meaning to talk to you a little bit about integrity. When I think of integrity, your name comes to my mind. So, when you read in the scriptures about integrity, when you think about it on a day-to-day basis, what comes to mind? What drives you?
Oh, it's a pretty serious topic. All kinds of things. Honesty,
Yep.
justice, consistency, reliability, righteousness,
Right.
To have compassion and mercy.
It's
That's just
amazing how
touching a few.
Yeah. It's amazing how much is in the Bible about it, actually, right? The verses that Tara Lee read, it's like we try to live our life with integrity, and it starts with having a good definition of that. Because a lot of people, they think integrity just means telling the truth, right? And then oftentimes they speak truth, but there's no mercy, there's no righteousness. It's just sort of like, well, that's the truth. What am I going to do about it, right? It's not my problem, except it is your problem if you're trying to live with integrity, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I find it interesting trying to answer some of those questions about life, right? Like, when I think of integrity, I think of someone who has my back. I think of someone who I can trust. And when you're trying to build trust with someone, it isn't just something you're like, can I trust you? You're like, oh, of course, right? It gets tempered in the fire of commitment, of relationship, of trial.
Absolutely. It's a lot more than just saying that I have your back no matter what, I'll lie for you, or it's more than that. It's telling that person or trying to show them the right way.
Right?
Or show them or put them in the right direction.
Well, and having their back means that you won't lie for them.
Absolutely.
Right? So you're trying to say, like, I'm not better than you. It's not like we have all the answers, but it's like, if we're going to be men, women of integrity, it means that we do what we think is right to the best of our ability, right?
We can lead each other in the right direction.
We're helping each other, right?
Yep.
You're supporting each other. You have my back because in my moment of weakness, you'll be strong, and vice versa. And that's a vital part of relationships, right? Especially when you think about marriage covenants, right? Like, there's times where she's strong and you're not, and times where you're strong and she's not. But together, because you each work towards integrity, you can support one another. You have each other's back, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just out there, right? Like, we think about having integrity means that we have each other's back. It's like we'll protect you from everything out there. I like saying that it's our responsibility, especially in a marriage, it's our responsibility to protect our spouse from all attacks, both foreign and domestic, right?
Yeah, good point.
It's our responsibility because many times we're the ones that hurt them, right? The connection that's supposed to be the tightest often is ripped apart because there's not the depth of the commitment, right? We redefine what that looks like, right?
And that's why it's important to be consistent and reliable in your relationships.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's sometimes people are like, well, it's just a little thing, doesn't matter, right? We'll just glide over it, just slide by it, doesn't matter. But it's in those moments that you really see where the trust is, whether someone has integrity, whether you can trust them, right? I often think, proverbially, you've heard people say, like, a wife says to you, hey, does this dress make me look fat, right? And it's a trap. Don't answer that. But I mean, there's wrong answers to that, right? Like,
Absolutely,
don't say
there is.
don't say it's not the dress. Like, don't say that. Because I know guys who say that, right? It's not the dress. Well, I'm just being truthful. Like, you asked my opinion, right? That's not what she's asking. When she's asking you that, she's looking for your opinion, but she's looking for your support. She doesn't want to, like, I don't know about your wife, but my wife's not looking to me for fashion advice, right? She's not saying, hey, does this dress look good and this and that. She wants to know that she can't see this aspect. What do you have to offer, right? Can you do this?
She wants to know that you're there supporting her.
That you have her back,
Yep,
right?
that you
Because
have her
if
back.
she goes out and she looks terrible, she's going to feel bad about that. Now, I think she looks great all the time, but she wants to know that I'm willing to have the integrity to say, in a kind way, hey, that might not be the best look for you today. Or, there's that pattern doesn't go with your eyes.
And
Means
that's
you need
why
to
it's
know.
important not to lie about these situations.
Right,
Yeah.
right? Because you're actually building integrity for the times where important matters come up. Not that that's not an important matter. I'm not saying that. But I think many times we sort of glide over that as guys, right? It's like, I don't know if you've done this, but it's like, yeah, you look great. You haven't even looked up, right? But it's like, yeah, great. It's like, can we go, right? But
That's happened a couple times.
a couple times?
Yeah.
So the reality of it is, though, is that you're actually creating or not creating trust in that relationship, right? When you take the time to lean into her and say, I love you, I support you, I've got this, right? Because when things come later that are hard, sometimes on a church Sunday we hear about prayer requests, right? People who've lost loved ones, people who, going through difficult times. And those hard days, she needs to know she can trust you, right? And same, a couple of buddies, right? Like I need to know, you need to know that I have your best interest at heart. So as a pastor, I try to come alongside you. And many times as a pastor, I'm tasked with the idea of helping you with things that you don't really want help with. Or you do, but you don't always want to do the things it takes.
Sometimes it's hard to ask.
Right?
Sometimes it's hard to ask.
Yeah.
And that's where humility comes in.
Well, that's the three things, right? Like the three hardest things for a man to say, right? I was wrong, I'm sorry, and Worcestershire sauce, right?
Absolutely.
No, the third thing is I need help, right? Because we have this persona where we have everything under control, and we don't need help. But the idea is that we're supposed to be walking in tandem. We're supposed to be walking as a family. That's one of the things that we're trying to do with our church, right? Is trying to create a family aspect where we can trust each other. And that doesn't happen just inside the walls. It happens outside the walls too.
Yeah, it happens at almost every turn of life. Even when there's not people watching, you still have to be consistent.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's where the consistency part comes in. It's easy. It's easier to have integrity when people are watching, right? Because
It's almost like somebody's keeping you accountable.
right?
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't do it maybe, but they're going to find out. So yeah, I'll put that correct change, or I won't take that chocolate bar, or I won't whatever, right? But if no one's there,
It's easy to slip.
there's a question sometimes, right? And that should really check us in our spirit, right? Like why is there a question there? Where is the line for your integrity? And it's like, there's lots of examples of that, right? For example, if I was to say, like, would you give up trade secrets for your country for $1 million? You're like, no, I wouldn't do that. It's like, how about $1 billion? Ooh, possibly, right? That's a lot of money,
Yeah.
right?
And sometimes it's not always a number. It could be other things.
Right.
It could be, somebody's well-being, or there's all kinds of reasons to sway.
So you don't do the right thing and someone else pays the price and you get the benefit from it. Is that really showing integrity?
No, not at all.
Right? Like if you really are my friend, you'll lie for me, right? You'll cover for me, right? I can trust you to cover for me,
Yeah,
right?
That's not showing any integrity.
Right?
And that doesn't help your integrity either.
And it's not actually showing love. Like that relationship is so surface,
Right?
right? Because what's the depth of that? Like you'll get me out of trouble, right?
In the long run, I'd prefer you tell me the hard thing than the easy thing.
Okay. That dress makes you look fat, man. Just,
I
But-
know. It's the colors
it's the colors.
and the stripes.
Right? Wear black, it's slimming, I've heard. So the reality of it is, though, is that if we're wanting to build that kind of trust, you have to lean into the hard discussions, right? So why is it wrong to overlook that thing? Why is it difficult to say, I'm not going to stand up and have my voice heard to protect someone who's vulnerable, right? We know we should. We want someone to do that for us. But in that moment, we're like, it's too big a price. Someone's going to think differently of us, right? Someone's going to say things about us.
We're scared of being judged.
Right?
Yeah. But sometimes it's important to look beyond that.
Yeah.
And there's always a consequence to every decision. So sometimes we need to deal with those consequences.
And even when we think the consequence is good, it doesn't mean it is in the long run, right? Just because you benefit from it, I have a little bit more money in my pocket because I took this from work, or whatever the case is, you have a benefit, the consequence is there, but the long-term consequence of that can be negative as far as, okay, someone saw you, they didn't report you. You think they have your back, but they've lost all respect for you, right? And so that reputation is now squandered. I think that matters because we're not just living for our reputation, right? I mean, yes, your reputation should matter, but if you name the name of Christ, God's reputation is at stake too.
And that's part of your walk with Jesus, your walk with God, is you want to show integrity like he showed integrity.
Yep.
You want to be consistent in your faith.
It's interesting, as you study his life, he didn't make a point of saying something in every situation. Like sometimes I see people and I have great integrity and I'm pointing out all these evil things, right? It's like, maybe, but what's the motivation behind it? Like what's the purpose behind it? Are you doing it in love? It's not speaking the truth, end of the line. It's speaking the truth in love, it says in Ephesians. So the kind way of saying something, right? What is the best part of what you're expressing to help that person, not just to put them down, right? It's hard sometimes, right? The scriptures talk about integrity, and they use the synonym of blameless, right? I think you showed me Psalm 119, right?
Yeah, 119:1.
And it's talking about how if you want to follow God and walk in his path, you live with integrity, you live with being blameless. And I don't think being blameless means you never make mistakes. I think it means you're man enough, woman enough to admit when you've done something wrong, right?
Admit and ask for forgiveness.
Right?
Yeah. Whether it's to you or it's to God himself.
To both, right?
Yep.
Like definitely to God because he's the one we sin against. But as we hurt those around us, we need to talk to them about how that impacts them, how it impacts us, right? So why do you think that's so important?
Well, I think it's important that everybody sees it consistently, as in your children seeing it,
Okay.
so that they can grow in the same walk, that they can ask for forgiveness, and that they can see and express their mistakes,
Right.
learn from it.
Parenting's a hard thing. And there's all these 5 easy steps. And if you know these 10 things, you'll be a great parent or whatever. But one of the things that often gets overlooked is showing them how to deal with conflict. Being able to show your kids when you've made a mistake, when you've sinned, that you confess that, you own up. Not these, half an apology things. Like, well, if I hurt you, I'm sorry, right? Like, that has no meaning.
No, it has to be sincere.
Right?
Yep.
So part of having integrity, part of honesty is the sincerity to say, no, I messed up. I did the wrong thing. I'll pay the consequences. How do we rebuild this? How many kids see their parents do that with each other? Right? All the fights are behind closed doors where you think you're yelling quietly. Your kids hear you, but they never say anything, and you think you got away with it. But what are you actually teaching them?
You're not teaching them the right virtues.
Yeah.
You should be. And then, of course, when you do apologize, it's usually on the quiet, so they
Right.
don't hear that part.
They hear when you blow up in front of everyone because you lose your temper, but then
Yeah.
when you apologize to her, it's in the bedroom later, and you're like, hey, sorry about that, babe. But the kids don't hear that, right?
Right.
And so they see this sort of half a journey, right? Where dad never makes mistakes, mom never makes mistakes. But then they see you make mistakes, and then they don't know what to do with that. And if you have the integrity, if you have the trust with your spouse, with your kids, with your friends, co-workers, if you have that kind of life where what you see is what you get, right? That no matter if someone's there or someone's not there, you're living the right way or the best way you can. I think God honors that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's also important that they see you accepting people's apologies and acknowledging people's integrity.
Right?
Yeah.
We make excuses all the time, right?
Oh,
Well, you
absolutely.
had to. Instead of saying, you know what? That was a good thing he did.
Yeah. It took a lot for you to come up and apologize.
Yep.
Yeah.
Recognizing that.
Yep.
Yeah. Why do you think we don't recognize that? Why do you think we...
I think sometimes our pride gets in the way.
But we're talking about integrity, we're not talking about humility.
Well, humility fits in with integrity.
You can't really separate them, can you?
Not really.
Right? Because if I'm lacking integrity, if I'm lacking humility, let's say, right? Then I'm not going to be doing things the right way, right?
Not fully.
I don't need to. Do you know who I am? Right? I can shortcut these things. And that gets us into trouble when it comes to things we're trying to get out of, right? So many times we sell our reputation, we sell our integrity for, I don't want to get a speeding ticket, or, so-and-so at the office, I don't really feel like, fill in the blank, right? And it's like, do you even recognize the price that you're putting on your integrity?
Right. What are you going to sell your soul for?
Right?
Yeah.
Nothing. I wouldn't, for $1 million, I wouldn't, right? But we end up selling it for a lot less.
Yeah, doubt comes into there quite a bit.
Because we question. Like, we put on a good face for other people, right? Like, everyone sees us and we're perfect, but that's what we present them. But it's not actually true. Don't tell my wife, but not perfect, right? I don't want to shatter the illusion, right? But it's like, she knows. And if I don't have the humility to say, I've messed up here. I need your help. Can we work this through so that we can partner together and move forward? I'll help you if you help me. I'll help you even if you don't help me. I've got your back. Think about how that strengthens a relationship, right?
Yeah.
A marriage, a friendship.
There's so many components to all that.
Yeah.
And when it all works together,
Yeah.
it's flawless.
Yeah.
That's God's design.
That's his design. And that's what they say, right? If you do things the way God designs in your marriage, it'll be a marriage made in heaven, right? And if you don't, it'll be a marriage made in somewhere else, right? So that's the hard part, is having the humility to see that, to step up to that. And part of it is caring enough, right, to engage in that aspect. Like, where do we sell our humility, our integrity, our humility in a relationship? As men, oftentimes we stonewall, right? We're just quiet. Well, I'm not going to get into that because blah, blah, blah. But there's a price you're paying because you're not doing the work necessary to have her back, right? Saw a great quote this week. Everybody wants the view, but nobody wants the climb, right? Like, you want to have the end result. I want to have integrity, but I don't want to do the hard choices along the way.
You don't want to put the work into it.
Right?
Yeah.
And friends, don't let friends skip leg day, right?
Right.
Like, you have to help them do the parts they don't want to do to round out the picture of who they say they want to be, right? That's having integrity.
It's so important to put the work into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the more work you put into it, the more muscle memory you're going to build, and the more you're going to do it all the time.
Yep. And if you're doing that, it isn't a cognitive thing. It's like something happens, you're like, oh, what's the integrity thing to do? What's the right thing to do? It just flows out of you. It should be natural. What would Jesus do? This is what I do. And you practice that so often that that's what you naturally do.
Right. And when you close that door, you keep doing it. When you're by yourself, you keep doing it.
Because the right thing doesn't change just because the audience changes or
No.
isn't there,
No.
right?
No.
Yeah. And I think we see that mirrored by God as usual, the best, right? While we were sinners, while we had nothing to offer him, we were separated from him because of sin, he did the right thing. He sent his son to die on the cross for our sins. We have a deep relationship with him because of what he offered, right? And that's what we celebrate today.
Nice.
That's what we're going to engage in today. We lean into today to respond to his integrity, to his gift, in what he's offered to us. We can then respond to that in like manner. So, thanks, man. I got to go,
Perfect.
but
Thank you.
Appreciate you.